Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs, and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here. And with some of them, I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body. And because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now, though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires. In giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains.
Universal Law number 27. The Law of Faith. The law of faith is founded upon the recognition that we know more than we have read, heard, or studied. We know more because we are a part of the all. We have a direct link to universal wisdom. We only have to look within, listen, discern, then trust. We need to develop more trust in our own deepest intuition and wisdom as the final arbiter and source of our decisions.
So I don't think the law of faith needs a lot of unpacking, if any, but once again, bearing in mind not everybody has English as a first language. If we look at the dictionary meaning of the word faith, it has actually two descriptions. The first one is where we completely trust or have confidence in somebody or something. Now, from my perspective, that sounds a little bit risky, to be honest. Are we expected within that definition to trust that, for example, a swing that we sit on isn't going to break because we're too heavy for it? Or am I trusting somebody with a confidence and then later on find out that it was misplaced trust? So I don't necessarily think that faith is something that falls into this definition, certainly not within universal or spiritual law. The second description, though, has greater meaning to me. It's defined as a strong belief in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual conviction rather than proof. Now, from within this context, I can actually agree with it part of it, okay? In that when we talk about religion and doctrine, it tends to be a little bit off-putting for most of us. The bottom line, though, is that all religions are simply formalized groups of thoughts and beliefs around spiritual convictions, and this informs their faith, in quotation marks, or their church's faith, in quotation marks. And what I have observed in my own experience is that we can have a faith and a belief in the spiritual, or we can have spiritual convictions that do not have any evidence or scientific research to substantiate them, but rather our conviction comes through our inner knowing, and that informs what we believe. So there is also a difference, I would say, when it comes to faith. This is just me, right? And it might resonate with you. Somebody, or me, or you, anybody, I should say, we can believe something or not believe something until we actually have an experience that categorically proves to us. So if we're talking about our spiritual faith and belief without being part of any organised church or religion, we can know in our hearts that there is a divine creator, and that becomes a knowledge, that it feels like a knowledge, okay? It feels like knowing, as opposed to, well, I think there's a God. There's a whole different emotion attached to that personal experience. So for me, faith is that inner knowing. So I can agree with that point. And then what is the other part here that it says within this law? Well, I definitely agree that we can all access universal wisdom, and that we do learn the truths, the universal truths, when we look deeply inside of ourselves and we learn to trust our instincts or our inner voice. And this obviously is based on my experience, means being able to discern what is negative mind chatter, what are we jabbering to ourselves, revisiting insecurities, and trying to discern what is actually our divine communication and guidance, as opposed to the negative mind chatter that occurs. And this is where faith versus belief, I suppose. I'm just going to put in here, because I think it might be helpful to people, that when it comes to divine communication, or certainly learning to trust our own instincts and intuition, in my experience, faith is pretty solid. But I want to ask you a question. Do you believe when you receive a divine vision or message that there is absolutely no question about it? It's kind of like if you're the kind of person that gets visions in dreams, you wake up and you know categorically that really did happen. There's no questioning it. It really happened. You saw it, you felt it. Whereas sometimes you might wake up from a dream and you question it and you think, well, that kind of felt real, but you learn to tell the difference, is where I'm going with. What is that tapping into the subconscious as Jungian psychology, and what is a divine vision or communication? And with this knowing for you, does it occur if you know your chakras? My understanding is that the truth, the faith, the knowledge actually sits in the yellow and the heart chakras. So I'm just throwing that out there. Of course, I'm always interested to hear what other people have got to say. I think faith is very close to knowing, okay? Whereas some people think faith is purely belief, if you talk about churches. Whereas for me, that faith is this inner knowing. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what people say to you. You know in your heart. So if somebody else has got a different way of demonstrating their faith, it's kind of like, well, if that works for you and that's how you show your respect to the creator and that kind of stuff, then that's great. But I do it this way, So faith is something that's very personal, I believe. It's that inner knowing. So, as usual, I'm going to leave this with you to have a little think about, reflect, consider if that's what you want to do. You may know automatically what you feel about it. And I'm going to invite you to just put your thoughts, feelings, views, perspectives as comments underneath this video and share your information and knowledge or experiences with other people as part of expanding us all. In the meantime, I bid you farewell for today. I thank you for being part of my journey and I say blessings to you. Have a glorious day. Take care. Bye bye.